I was setting the table for Sunday dinner when my mother made the comment that would change everything. Well, at least you're employed, even if it's just retail. My boss, sitting in my parents' living room, 20 feet away, looked up from his phone. I watched his expression shift from polite interest to something sharper, something dangerous. Just retail, he repeated quietly. My mother didn't hear him. She was too busy telling my sister about the promotion she'd just gotten at her accounting firm. My father was nodding along, proud. My brother was on his phone, half listening to the conversation he'd heard 100 times before. None of them had any idea what was about to happen. None of them knew that the man sitting in their living room, the one they'd barely acknowledged when I'd introduced him as a colleague from work, was actually the CEO of the third largest luxury retail company in North America. The man they'd been ignoring for the past 15 minutes was worth approximately $400 million, and none of them knew that I wasn't just a sales associate. I was the vice president of brand strategy, making $230,000 a year. But they were about to find out. Let me back up. My name is Rachel Stevens. I'm 29 years old. And for the past 7 years, my family has believed I work retail. They're not entirely wrong. I do work in retail. I just don't work in the way they think I work in retail. My family has always been obsessed with traditional success, the kind that comes with impressive titles and industries that sound good at cocktail parties. My father is a cardiovascular surgeon at one of the best hospitals in the state. My mother is a senior partner at a corporate law firm specializing in mergers and acquisitions. My older sister, Claire, is a senior accountant at Deloitte. My younger brother, Mason, just finished his MBA from a good business school and landed a job at McKinsey. Everyone has titles that make people nod with respect. Everyone works in industries people understand. Everyone makes the kind of money you can mention without embarrassment. And then there's me, the one who works retail. I graduated from college 7 years ago with a degree in marketing and a minor in consumer psychology. Got hired immediately by Meridian & Co., a luxury retail company that most people have heard of, but that my family considers just shopping. I started as a junior brand strategist, making $48,000 a year. Within a year, I was promoted to associate strategist, then senior strategist, then director of brand development. 3 years ago, at 26, I was promoted to vice president of brand strategy. I oversee a team of 32 people across 4 departments. I manage an annual budget of $40 million. I've been featured in Forbes' 30 Under 30 list, written up in Business Insider for innovative retail marketing strategies, spoken at South by Southwest and the Retail Innovation Conference, consulted for other Fortune 500 companies on brand positioning and customer engagement. I make $230,000 a year, plus performance bonuses that have ranged from $50,000 to $70,000, plus stock options currently valued at about $600,000. But my family thinks I fold sweaters at a mall. It started innocently enough. When I got my first job 7 years ago, I called my parents, excited. I'd just graduated. I had offers from 3 companies. I chose Meridian & Co. because the role was challenging. The company culture was incredible, and the growth potential was obvious. I got a job at Meridian & Co. I'm going to be a junior brand strategist. There was a pause. The store? The company. I'll be working at corporate headquarters, developing marketing campaigns for the brand. So, you're working in their marketing department? Yes, brand strategy specifically. I'll be helping position products, develop customer personas, create engagement campaigns. That sounds wonderful, honey. Everyone has to start somewhere. Your father started as a resident. Start somewhere. Like this was the bottom rung. Like I was an intern fetching coffee. I tried explaining what brand strategy meant, tried describing the campaigns I'd be working on, tried walking her through the competitive landscape of luxury retail and how critical brand positioning was in that space. Her eyes glazed over. That's nice, dear. Are you looking at other opportunities too? Claire's firm is always hiring. She could put in a word for you. Accounting is much more stable than retail. That should have been my first clue. But I was young, optimistic. I thought once I started succeeding, once I started moving up, they'd understand. They'd see that this wasn't just retail. This was strategy. This was brand development. This was a real career. I was wrong. 6 months into my job, I got my first major win. I developed a customer segmentation model that identified an underserved demographic, pitched a campaign targeting them. The campaign launched. Revenue from that segment increased 42% in 1 quarter. I got a bonus, got recognition from senior leadership, got invited to present my results at a company-wide meeting. I told my family at Sunday dinner. I just led my first major campaign. We saw a 42% increase in revenue from the target demographic. My father looked up from his wine. That's great, honey. How much are they paying you for this extra work? It's not extra work. It's my job. But I got a $5,000 bonus. My mother smiled. $5,000? That's wonderful. You should save that. Retail jobs can be unstable. My sister Claire had just gotten a small raise at her firm. 3%, maybe $2,200 a year before taxes. The family spent 20 minutes congratulating her on her financial success and career trajectory. I'd just generated millions in revenue and gotten a bonus bigger than her raise. I got a 30-second acknowledgement and a warning about job stability. That became the pattern. Every achievement I mentioned was minimized. Every success was qualified. Every promotion was met with polite disinterest. When I got promoted to associate strategist, I told them at Thanksgiving. I got promoted. I'm an associate brand strategist now. Oh, how nice! So you're training the new employees? No, I'm leading strategy development for our spring collection. Well, that's more responsibility. Make sure they're compensating you fairly. Retail doesn't always pay people what they're worth. I was making 65% more, $1,000 a year. Claire was making $70,000. But Claire worked at a real company, so she was doing better. When I became senior strategist at 24, making $90,000 a year, my mother's response was, "That's a very impressive title. I'm sure they give everyone nice titles in retail to make them feel valued." When I became director of brand development, at 25, making $120,000, my father asked if I'd thought about going back to school. An MBA would help you transition into a more traditional business role. Mason's program has connections at real companies, Real Meridian and Company, a publicly traded corporation with 40,000 employees. And $8 billion in annual revenue wasn't real. The worst part wasn't the lack of recognition, it was the pity. My mother would pat my hand at dinner and say things like, "You're doing so well for yourself, considering." In that tone that meant, considering you chose retail. My father would offer to help with my resume. "I know some people in hospital administration. That's more stable than retail. Better benefits, too." I had 6 weeks of a 401k match, stock options, and unlimited sick days. But sure, hospital administration had better benefits. My sister Claire would offer career advice. "You should really think about corporate, real corporate, not just retail corporate. I could introduce you to recruiters, real corporate." Like the Fortune 500 company I worked for wasn't corporate enough. My brother Mason, fresh out of his MBA program, making $75,000 at McKinsey, would give me strategic career guidance. "You've been in retail for a while now. You don't want to get pigeonholed. You should start thinking about your exit strategy." I had recruiters from Amazon, Google, and Nike. Thinking about what they find, I had normally one friend put the come from the normal to be arrive. I had recruiters from Amazon, Google, and Nike. I had the first power recruiters from Amazon reclibbered. I had recruiters from Amazon, Google, and Nike. I had normally one friend put the come from the normal to be arrive. Nobody threw blux to the normal. because they found the more unfriend to I had normally life, put the come from the normal to be arrive. I had normally stap friend, put the come from the normal to be arrive. I feel like that the swite also been approved before Amazon. She didn't ready any time of community. I had normally flyer, flowed, traitin the get long the square, but they find that money with offers that would have doubled Mason's salary. I was turning down opportunities he'd kill for. But sure, I needed an exit strategy from my dead-end retail job. The breaking point came 6 months ago. Sunday dinner at my parents' house. Claire had just gotten engaged to her boyfriend of 3 years. The whole meal was about wedding planning. My mother was showing everyone photos of potential venues on her iPad. My father was discussing budget. Mason was half-heartedly offering to help with the bachelor party planning. Then my mother turned to me. "Rachel, you'll be able to get time off for the wedding, won't you? I know retail schedules can be difficult, especially around the holidays. The wedding's in June. That's not a retail peak season. And I have unlimited PTO." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Honey, no one has unlimited time off. That's not how jobs work. Salaried employees at my level do." "Your level?" Mason smirked into his wine glass. "What level is that exactly? Store manager? Vice president of brand strategy?" The table went quiet for exactly 4 seconds. Then my father started laughing. "Vice president of the store?" "Vice president of brand strategy for the entire company." My mother reached over and patted my hand. "That's a very impressive title, sweetheart. I'm sure they make everyone feel important with fancy titles. It's good for morale." "It's not a fancy title for morale. It's my actual position. I have 32 direct reports. I manage a $40 million budget. I report directly to the CMO." "Of course you do, dear." That tone. The one that said, "We're humoring you because we love you, but we know the truth." My sister Claire tried to be diplomatic. "I think what Mom means is that retail has different structures than traditional corporate. The titles don't always translate the same way." "The title translates exactly the same way. Vice president means the same thing whether you're in retail, accounting, or consulting." "But it's still retail," Mason said. "It's not like you're a VP at a bank or something." I put down my fork. "What exactly do you think I do all day?" "You work at Meridian & Co., my mother said. "You help with their marketing. It's very nice work, honey. We're proud that you're employed and doing well. Do you know what Meridian & Co. is worth? It's a retail company. They have stores. It's an $8 billion publicly traded corporation with stores in 47 countries. It's larger than most of the companies Mason's firm consults for." Mason rolled his eyes. "Revenue doesn't mean anything. Walmart has high revenue. Doesn't make it prestigious." "Meridian & Co. isn't Walmart. It's luxury retail. Our average transaction is $800. Our customers include celebrities, executives, and people who make more in a month than most people make in a year." "That's wonderful, dear," my mother said. "But Claire, tell us more about your venue options." "Rachel, you're still welcome to bring a +1 if you're seeing anyone." And just like that, we were back to Claire's wedding. My attempt to explain my career dismissed in favor of discussing floral arrangements. I stopped trying to convince them after that. Stopped bringing up work. Stopped sharing achievements. Just showed up to Sunday dinners. Ate my meal and left. But I was tired of being dismissed, of being pitied, tired of watching my family celebrate everyone else's mediocre achievements while treating my actual success like a participation trophy. That's when my boss suggested coming to dinner. James Meridian. I am Drink, CEO of Meridian & Co., grandson of the founder, Harvard MBA, 42 years old, running a company worth $8 billion, and personally worth about $400 million. We'd developed a good working relationship over the years. He'd been CEO for 5 years, promoted from COO when his father retired. He was brilliant, strategic, And he valued talent. He'd personally approved my last 3 promotions. We met monthly for strategy sessions. He respected my work. We were in his office 2 weeks ago, reviewing Q3 campaign performance, when he asked about my weekend plans. Sunday dinner with family, same as always. You don't sound enthusiastic. I hesitated, then figured, why not? My family doesn't really understand what I do. They think I work retail. You do work retail. They think I work at a store, like on the sales floor, helping customers find jeans. He looked genuinely confused. Why would they think that? Because I work for a retail company. They can't seem to conceptualize anything beyond store operations. Have you explained your role? Many times. They don't listen. To them, retail means stores. Stores mean sales associates. Therefore, I'm a sales associate with a fancy title. He frowned. Then, after a moment, he smiled. I have an idea. What if I came to dinner with you? Met your family? Sometimes external validation helps clarify things. I laughed, thought he was joking. He wasn't joking. I'm serious. I'd like to meet them, and maybe help clear up some confusion about what you actually do. You want to come to my family's Sunday dinner. Why not? I'm curious about the people who raised someone with your strategic mind. And honestly, I'm a little offended on your behalf. You're one of my best executives. You deserve recognition. I should have said no. Should have kept my professional life and family life completely separate. Should have maintained boundaries. But I was so tired of being invisible. So tired of being dismissed. So tired of watching my family treat me like a failure. So I said yes. I told my family I was bringing a colleague to Sunday dinner. Someone from work. My mother was thrilled. A colleague! How wonderful! It'll be good for you to network. You never know. Maybe he works at a better company and can help you find new opportunities. I didn't correct her assumption that my colleague was male. Didn't mention that my colleague was the CEO. Didn't say anything except that I'd be bringing a guest. Make sure he knows it's casual, my mother said. We don't want him to feel uncomfortable. Sunday arrived. I picked James up from his house, a restored Victorian in the historic district worth probably $20 million. He was wearing dark jeans, a crisp button-down, and a blazer. Casual but polished. Nothing that screamed wealth or power. Ready for this? I asked as we drove. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. They're going to be condescending. They're going to assume you're a store manager. Or something. They're going to give you career advice. He laughed. I can handle it. You might be surprised. They're very committed to their narrative. We'll see. We arrived at my parents' house. A nice colonial in a good neighborhood. Upper middle class comfortable. My father's surgeon salary and my mother's partner income combined. I introduced James as my colleague from Meridian & Co. My mother shook his hand warmly. My father gave him a firm handshake and a nod. Claire smiled politely. Mason barely looked up from his phone. It's so nice to meet you, my mother said. Rachel doesn't usually bring friends to dinner. You must work together closely. We do, James said pleasantly. Rachel and I have worked together for several years now. How nice! What do you do at the company? I handle operations, he said vaguely, which was technically true. He handled all operations. Oh, management! That's wonderful! Retail management can be very rewarding. We sat in the living room making small talk before dinner. James was charming. Asked my father about his practice, asked Claire about her work at Deloitte, asked Mason about McKinsey and what kind of consulting he was doing. They answered his questions, but without much real interest. They were being polite to their sister's retail colleague. Nothing more. Then my mother started talking about Claire's wedding. The venue they'd chosen, the caterer they were interviewing, the band they'd hired. It's going to be beautiful, my mother said. Claire has such good taste. Rachel, you'll need to request the time off well in advance. I know how retail schedules work. They're not flexible, especially for sales staff. I felt James shift slightly beside me on the couch. Actually, he said pleasantly, Rachel has unlimited PTO. She can take time off whenever she needs to. My mother smiled indulgently. That's very generous for retail. Most positions are hourly, so time off can be complicated. Rachel's not hourly. She's salaried. Oh, I know she has some kind of salary. That tone, the humoring tone. But retail salaries are usually quite modest. We've offered to help her financially, if she ever needs it. Rachel makes $230,000 a year, James said. Still pleasant, still smiling. Plus annual bonuses averaging $60,000, and stock options currently valued at approximately $600,000. Her compensation package is quite competitive. You could have heard a pin drop. My mother's smile froze on her face. I'm sorry, what? $230,000. Base salary. She received a 15% increase with her promotion to VP last year. Well deserved, I might add. My father was staring at James like he'd started speaking a foreign language. That can't be right. It is. I approved the compensation package myself. You approved it. Claire's voice was very quiet. Who exactly are you? James stood and extended his hand properly to each of them. James Meridian, CEO of Meridian & Co., Rachel's direct supervisor, and the person she reports to. The silence was deafening. My mother's face had gone white. My father looked like someone had punched him. Claire was staring at me with her mouth open. Mason had actually dropped his phone. CEO, my mother whispered. Yes, I've had the pleasure of working with Rachel for 7 years now. She started as a junior strategist and has proven herself to be one of the most talented brand strategists in the luxury retail industry. Rachel told us you were a colleague, my father said slowly. I am her colleague. We work together closely. I value her input on major strategic decisions. She reports directly to me as Vice President of Brand Strategy. Vice President, Claire repeated. You're actually a Vice President. I told you that, I said quietly. 6 months ago, at this exact table. We thought... My mother seemed unable to finish the sentence. You thought she was exaggerating, James said. His tone was still pleasant, but there was steel underneath now. You thought retail meant working a cash register. You thought her title was inflated. You thought she was making minimum wage and needed career guidance from her consulting brother, who makes $75,000 a year. Mason flinched. Rachel has generated over $250 million in revenue for Meridian & Company through campaigns she's conceptualized and led. James continued. She's been featured in Forbes 30 Under 30 for retail innovation. She speaks at international conferences, where her sessions sell out. She has recruiters from Amazon, Google, and LVMH calling her monthly with offers we have to match to keep her. The silence stretched. She's one of the most respected brand strategists in luxury retail, James said. Industry leaders know her name. Competitors try to poach her constantly. She's on track to be CMO within 5 years, if she wants it. And you thought she folded clothes. My mother started crying. Real tears. Rachel, I'm so sorry. We didn't know. Yes, you did, I said. My voice came out harder than I intended. I told you at every single Sunday dinner for 7 years. Every promotion, every campaign, every achievement. You just didn't believe me. We thought you were being modest. No, you thought I was lying, or delusional, or inflating a retail job into something it wasn't. You couldn't imagine that retail could be a real career, that it could be strategic, that it could be lucrative. So you dismissed everything I said. That's not fair, my father said. You never gave us details. I gave you constant details. You didn't listen. When I told you about the segmentation model I built, You asked if they were paying me extra. When I told you about speaking at South by Southwest, you asked if I was looking at other jobs. When I told you I was VP, you laughed. Claire found her voice. $230,000. You make more than all of us except Dad. Actually, James said cheerfully, with bonuses and stock appreciation, Rachel's total compensation last year was just over $300,000. With the equity value growth, she's likely pulling ahead of most surgeons in terms of net worth trajectory. My mother made a sound like she'd been hit. Dinner's ready, I said, stood up, walked to the dining room without waiting for anyone else. They followed in stunned silence. Dinner was excruciating. My family kept trying to ask questions, kept trying to apologize, kept trying to understand how they'd misread the situation so completely. James answered most of their questions, patiently, thoroughly, explaining my role, detailing my achievements, describing campaigns I'd led that had generated millions in revenue. The Summer Heritage campaign? That was entirely Rachel's concept. Increased revenue in that category by 37%. She received our Innovation Award for it. You won an award? My mother asked weakly. I told you at Sunday dinner. I said, that's nice, and asked Claire about her tax season. I remember. You don't remember because you didn't care. By dessert, my father was asking if I'd consider consulting for his hospital. We need help with our brand presence. Patient acquisition is becoming competitive. I don't consult on medical brands. Not my area of expertise. But surely with your experience, my consulting rate is $20,000 for a project, plus expenses. And I'm booked through next quarter. He went very quiet. Claire tried a different approach. I'd love to learn more about what you do. Maybe we could have lunch and you could tell me about your career path? My assistant manages my calendar. She can find a slot next month. Your assistant? I have two. An executive assistant who manages my schedule, and a strategic coordinator who handles project logistics. Mason hadn't said much. Just sat there looking like his entire understanding of the world had shattered. Finally, he spoke. I don't understand. You work in retail. How can you possibly make more than I do? Because luxury retail is a sophisticated multi-billion-dollar industry that requires complex strategy, deep consumer psychology understanding, and the ability to position products in highly competitive markets. And I'm very good at it. But it's still just selling things. McKinsey is just selling advice, I said. Dad is just selling medical services. Mom is just selling legal expertise. Every job is selling something. The question is how sophisticated the selling is and how much value you create. I create millions in value. That's worth paying for. He didn't have a response to that. As we were leaving, my mother grabbed my arm. Rachel, please, I'm so sorry. We didn't understand. Can we talk about this? Really talk? We've been talking about it for 7 years, Mom. You just weren't listening. I'll listen now. It's too late for now. What does that mean? It means I've spent 7 years building a career while you pitied me. 7 years achieving things while you dismissed them. 7 years succeeding while you offered me career advice and financial help I didn't need. You only care now because someone you respect told you to care. That's not the same as actually caring about me. Her face crumpled. That's not true. It is true. If James hadn't come tonight, you'd still think I was a failure. You'd still be feeling sorry for me. You'd still be trying to help me find a better job. The only thing that changed is someone important validated me. But I didn't need validation. I needed you to believe me 7 years ago. James and I drove back to his place in silence. Finally, he spoke. That was worse than I imagined. I warned you. 7 years. They dismissed you for 7 complete years. Yes. How did you stand it? I stopped caring what they thought, built my career anyway, proved to myself that I was valuable, even if they couldn't see it. He was quiet for a moment. Then, you know you don't have to go back there, to those dinners. I know. You don't owe them anything. I know that too. They only see you now because I made them see you. That's not real recognition. I know. That was 3 months ago. I've been to 3 Sunday dinners since then. Each time, my family has treated me completely differently. My mother asks detailed questions about my work now, takes notes, tells her friends about my achievements, sends my Forbes feature in casual conversation. My father brags about me to his colleagues, asks if I can speak at hospital fundraisers, wants to introduce me to board members. Claire wants to get coffee constantly, asks for career advice, wants me to review her resume and help her pivot into a more strategic role. Mason has asked me 4 times if Meridian & Co. is hiring, if I could put in a word for him, if I know anyone at other retailers who might need consultants. It's all wrong. The attention feels hollow, performative. They're not proud of me. They're impressed by my salary. They're not interested in my work. They're interested in my title. They're not trying to understand me. They're trying to benefit from knowing me. They don't see me. They see vice president. They see $230,000. They see Forbes recognition. They see someone James Meridian respects. But they don't see the 7 years I spent being invisible. The Sunday dinners where I was pitied. The constant implication that I'd chosen wrong. The feeling of being the family disappointment. James says I should cut them off completely. You don't need people in your life who only value you when external validation forces them to. That's not love. That's opportunism. He's probably right. But they're still my family. So I found a middle ground. I see them occasionally. Keep things surface level. Don't share real details about my life. Don't give them access to my actual thoughts or feelings. They notice. My mother calls more often, says she misses me, says she wants to make up for lost time, says she wants to understand my life better. But you can't make up for 7 years. You can't undo the damage of constant dismissal. You can't erase the pain of being invisible to the people who are supposed to see you most clearly. Here's what I learned. Some people will only see your worth when someone else validates it. They won't believe in your success until external proof forces them to. They won't value your achievements until someone they respect tells them to. And by the time they finally see you, you've already moved on. You've already built your life without their support, without their belief, without their recognition. You've already proven to yourself that you're valuable. You've already created success that exists independent of their acknowledgement. My family laughed at my job for 7 years, pitied me, dismissed my achievements, offered me career advice I didn't need, and financial help I didn't want, until my boss came to dinner and told them the truth. And now they're desperate to be part of my success, desperate to celebrate achievements they once mocked, desperate to claim pride in a daughter they once condescended to. But I don't need their pride anymore. I built my career while they laughed, rose to VP while they pitied me, made partner-level money while they offered me job advice, created a life I'm proud of while they assumed I was struggling. The victory isn't in proving them wrong. The victory is in not needing to prove anything at all. I already knew my worth. I'd known it for 7 years. They just finally caught up. But by then, I'd already stopped waiting for them to see me. And that makes all the difference.